I told my wife that I won't force my son to cut his hair for her daughter's graduation photos because she's embarrassed by how he looks. My wife, Vanessa, and I got married 2 years ago after dating for about 3 years. I have a 15-year-old son, Luca, from my previous marriage, and she has a 17-year-old daughter, Brianna. Luca has had long hair since he was 12, down past his shoulders. His late mom, who passed when he was 9, was Native American, and growing out his hair was something they talked about before she died. It's not just hair to him, it's literally one of the only connections he has left to that part of his identity. Brianna is graduating high school next month, and Vanessa has been planning this huge celebration for weeks. Professional photographer, fancy dinner, the whole thing. She's posted about it constantly on social media, and has been showing everyone the Pinterest boards she made for photo poses and color schemes. Brianna has always been a bit self-conscious about appearances. She cares a lot about what people think, unfollows anyone who posts ugly pictures of her, and has definitely made comments about Luca's hair before. But 3 weeks ago, she told Vanessa that Luca's hair looks messy and unprofessional, and that she didn't want him ruining her graduation photos looking like that. Vanessa came to me last Thursday and said we needed to talk about Luca's appearance for the graduation. She said Brianna was really stressed about everything looking perfect, and it would mean a lot if Luca could just get a haircut for the photos. I told her absolutely not. Luca's hair is tied to his mom's memory and his heritage, and we weren't cutting it so Brianna could have some Instagram perfect photos, but Vanessa kept pushing. She said it was just hair, and it would grow back, and that Brianna only gets one high school graduation. Last Sunday, Brianna actually approached Luca directly while we were having breakfast. She told him she'd pay for him to go to a really nice salon if he'd consider cutting his hair before graduation. She said it didn't have to be short, just cleaned up and normal looking. Luca looked at her and said no thanks, and left the table without finishing his food. Yesterday, things completely blew up. Vanessa sat me down and said she'd been thinking about it, and if Luca wasn't willing to compromise on his appearance, maybe he shouldn't be in the formal family photos. She said he could still come to the ceremony, but the professional photos should be just the people who care enough to look presentable. I completely lost it. I told her she was basically asking my son to choose between honoring his late mother and being included in family photos. Vanessa got defensive and said I was making it deeper than it needed to be. She said plenty of boys have long hair that looks neat and maintained, but Luca's looks unkempt because he doesn't style it properly. She suggested we could at least make him straighten it or put it in a bun so it looked more polished. I said the problem wasn't Luca's hair. The problem was her and Brianna treating him like an accessory that needed to match their aesthetic. That's when Vanessa really snapped. She said I was being unreasonable and making her daughter feel like her feelings didn't matter on one of the biggest days of her life. She told me Brianna had been crying to her about this for days because she knew her friends would judge her family based on photos. I told Vanessa that teaching Brianna to value appearances over people's identities and boundaries was setting her up to be shallow and controlling. Vanessa shot back that I was choosing my son's stubbornness over her daughter's happiness. I said, no, I'm choosing my son's right to exist as he is over your daughter's need to control how everyone around her looks. Luca heard the shouting and came downstairs. When he realized what we were fighting about, he just looked at Vanessa and said, I didn't know you were embarrassed of me. Then he went back upstairs and I heard his door lock. Vanessa started crying and said I'd turned her into the villain when all she wanted was nice family photos. She grabbed her keys and left, texting me later that she was staying at her sister's place to get some space. When she came home this morning, she said she'd talk to her sister, and maybe we should do couples counseling before the graduation so we could figure out how to handle these kinds of disagreements. I told her counseling was fine, but Luca wasn't cutting, styling, or hiding his hair for anyone's photos.